I'm Vance Sebastian here with my co-host S.A. Baz Collins for this week's Written on the Edge, Season 8, Episode 41, last week this morning. It's just Baz and I sharing headlines and culture news that caught our attention during the week of September 17 to 23, plus nominating our wins for the week. And we didn't discuss those ahead of time, so I hope it's not the same one. Boom.
Well, if it is, I'll just be deleting my list as I go along. Mine
Um,
may end up only with two items.
right. All right, to jump to my news list, Florida's Department of Education has posted their list of over 300 banned books, and yet a spokesperson for that department told NBC News Florida doesn't ban books. Uh, and using full hater deflection, she blamed the parents for wanting those books removed from the schools, which sounds like what? Banning. Banning. That's banning if they're being removed. Moving on to upstate New York, there was a drag show announcement that a group of clergy members tried to shut down, and it failed spectacularly because when they posted their letter of complaint to Facebook, the public support was amazing. The show sold out, and the clergy members kind of had to bite their tongues and say, "Well, we tried, but I guess it's gonna happen." Yes, because your opinions are unpopular. I'll just say it. Let me be the
Mm,
first.
mm,
In good news, and because the Democrats do not cheer their own accomplishments well enough, the U.S. Census Bureau has asked the Biden administration for permission to test questions about sexual orientation and gender identity for people aged 15 and up on the most comprehensive annual survey of life in this country. Yay. The statistical agency wants to test the wording, response categories, and placement of gender identity and sexual orientation questions on the questionnaire for American Community Survey, which collects data from 3.5 million households a year. The ACS covers a wide range of topics from family life, income, education levels, and employment to commuting times. The list continues: internet access, disabilities, and military service. So, bravo. This administration is providing jobs. They're fixing our infrastructure left and right. People are actually able to get places again because roads are being repaired. People have access to internet in ways they never did before. They're showing that this is a welcoming country. Go Democrats, go Biden administration. I don't care what else you say. These people are getting things done, and that is not being
mm,
lauded enough.
mm-hmm.
Heading north of our border, competing protests sprouted up in cities and communities across Canada this last Wednesday as opposing groups loudly clashed on how schools address issues of gender identity and how teachers refer to transgender youth. Arrests were reported in Ottawa, Halifax, Vancouver, and also Victoria, where the Victoria Police advised people to avoid British Columbia legislature amid protests they said that had become unsafe. And two arrests were recorded at the time of this news story. And then the Prime Minister took to Twitter/X. Let me make one thing very clear: transphobia, homophobia, and biphobia have no place in this country. We strongly condemn this hate and its manifestations, and we stand united in support of 2SLGBTQI plus Canadians across the country. You are valid and you are valued. How's that coming from a world leader? I mean, come on. Brilliant
Mm-hmm.
and beautiful. So I know every place has their problems, and I know Canadians who are very quick to point out that they have problems too, especially to the Americans who are like, I'm leaving America and coming to Canada.
They're like,
But
don't bring your shit here.
right, but the reason it's so appealing is because of a world leader like Trudeau.
Yes.
And because I do like to show when organizations are doing well, there's a Texas church I would like to highlight. It has chosen a radically different path from many denominations nationwide, and instead of demonizing the queer community, the Galileo Church of Fort Worth, Texas, has opted to support and welcome the community. The congregation is particularly disturbed by the state's legislature's recent enacted law that bans healthcare providers from treating trans kids, and this church has launched its own program to help families get their children the healthcare they need. So, bravo, Galileo Church. And if religion and spirituality and that whole bucket of things is something that you've struggled with and would like to have a community with but don't know how to do, come check out our interview on Friday with Rick Herrick, an author who has tackled this from a wonderfully beautiful queer perspective. Straight ally, but it was such a just wonderful interview to be part of. I can't wait to share it with you. So there is little slivers of hope in the religion community too. Out wrestler Anthony Bowens, who I've covered in his recent win.
Well, that's
Actually,
off my list.
I'm sorry.
That's okay.
Um, penned a letter to the Tribune in, was he in Philadelphia? Players Tribune. I forgot where that is. Um, but he wrote
I'll put it here.
very, yeah, wrote a very inspiring letter to fans expressing his gratitude for their support and, quote, for letting a queer black kid from New Jersey live out his wrestling dream. And when he was speaking
I
to
thought
his
he also
fans,
posted it to Twitter, didn't he?
parts of it went to Twitter. Yeah, the full
Yeah,
letters
yeah,
in
because he had,
the
yeah.
Tribune.
Okay, okay.
Yep. And directly to fans, he said, I've been able to succeed in wrestling as a black gay man while still being me, and I don't take for granted the role you've all played in making that possible. So, again, just sharing a little bit of good news, and I'm sorry for stealing that from your list, but it made me happy to see. I just have two stories in the battle for trans rights, and then I'll turn it over to Baz. The haters in the UK are freaking out over a Braun shaving commercial where you can see a trans man's surgery scars while he's shaving. But Braun and other companies like Gillette, who I've mentioned in the past, and Costa Coffee, who I've also mentioned, have stood by their ads. So bravo to these companies for just doing the right thing. And Tristan Young, a senior at Oak Park High in Kansas City, Missouri, was voted homecoming queen. And while they are the second trans homecoming queen for that school, the haters came out this year, as did the support. And the school even supported the students' rights to choose their own homecoming queen. So bravo to that. That's my list. What have you got, Bass?
I've got quite a few things still left on my list. Some good, some like what the fuck, and some that are, I think, rather joyful. And I'm going to be throwing some Midwest love your way. So, first up, we have I don't know how. This is one of those. Oh, what the fuck. Angelica Ross alleges that Emma Roberts made transphobic comments on the set of American Horror Story. So this is now something that's developing. Here's my take on this whole thing. One, I fully support Angelica Ross. I stand behind my trans sisters wholeheartedly, and she has such a level head on her shoulders that I fully believe that this happened. My problem with it is Ryan Murphy and crew should know better. If somebody has that should have been nipped in the fucking bud. And while I like to tout that Ryan Murphy is unapologetic with his crew representation, sir, you need to do better. This shit does not belong on a set. And if you have actors, I don't care how talented they are, there's another warm body that can take that place and is perfectly willing and able to play ball with the cast the way they are. So do better. Emma Roberts, fucking get a grip. All right, moving on. There is a new movie coming out called Barrio Boy, and it's set in Brooklyn. It's a Latin romance, and I'm all for my brothers from another mother out there showing the Latino gay love. So definitely keep an eye out for that. But it looks like an amazing film. Can't wait to see it. So hopefully it'll hit the distribution circuit sometime shortly thereafter. Charlie Kirk has the SATs because Arizona State students told him he was a bad person. And he couldn't put up with it. No. Okay, moving on. I don't want to spend more time on that twat head. All right. So the one thing I did love was John Waters, who we mentioned.
No.
He got his star on the Walk of Fame, and I just love it because his comment was so gay and so queer and so perfect. He said, "Gee, I'm closer to the gutter than ever."
Yep, the exact quote was, "Here I am, closer to the gutter than ever."
Love that.
And for the record, that was my win of the week.
Oh, sorry about that. Well, you can share that. That's okay. We can still say that. Um, there is a lovely, this is your smile for the week. There is a lovely, and I found this at LGBTQ Nation by Bill Browning, who reported it. There is a lovely photo of a little boy going to his first day at school, and he's wearing a dress because it made him happy and he wanted to be special on his special day. So when a proud mom posted a photo of their son to Twitter, they had no idea it would hit everyone straight in the heart. The cute kiddo is wearing a dress and headed off to school. Like any good parent, Jamie Bean included a warning that if any person says anything to him other than "I love your dress" or "You look so pretty," I will metaphorically burn the whole system to the ground. The response to the photo was so overwhelming, they had to include a tweet that she wouldn't be able to read them all and had to mute all the reactions. Once the group of anti trans activists started their usual hateful nonsense, mom also had a message for all of them. This has officially moved far outside of my normal bubble of 10 people and into the realm of turfs. If you're bothered, that's cool. It doesn't bother me any if you don't like my parenting choices. I don't like lots of other parents' choice than myself. As I tell my kid, just be kind. Now that's good parenting. After other users started responding, the whole thread became one gigantic love fest. If you're feeling down today, this little trail of tweets is a must pick me up. So definitely putting it out there. The picture is so cute. I'm putting it up here for y'all to see. It just, let children be children. I don't care what they want to wear, just
Hmm.
let them be special and have their special days. All right. In another news, what the fuck? Musk is seeking volunteers for brain implants. People, no, 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 no. If anyone other than dickhead Fuckerberg, these are the two people you do not want inside your head. Okay? Just look at their posts, look at their lives. These are some motherfucking shady people. So, no, just pass. All right. Pete Buttigieg urges the GOP to live up to their funding deal that they agreed to. And I loved that Pete took on a committee and literally ripped apart the GOP. That boy knows how to swing and land solid blows against them. They should really, really do everything they can not to call him in because he just wipes the floor with them. He is always prepared. He always has his shit together. He's done his homework and he brings his A+ gang. And these wackadoodles in these GOP collection of maggots, they really have no clue how to deal with him. They have none. And the fact that they keep thinking they can get one up on him is just laughable in the extreme. So you go, boy. You do your thing. In a kind of like I'm hoping for the best, but I'm preparing for the worst. Poland's opposition leader Donald Tusk promises new laws for victimized LGBTQ plus community. This is a troubling area. You need to understand, people, that you aren't following what's going on in Poland. Yes, Poland is stepping up and doing the right thing by standing behind Ukraine. Kudos to them for that. They are literally taking all of Russia's threats extremely seriously, and they're really trying to work on getting the Eastern Bloc countries to stand in solidarity with each other and support Ukraine. However, that being said, their government is also very right wing, and our community has suffered greatly in Poland because of it. So to have a opposition leader who is gaining traction, who is talking about actually living up to the ideals of the EU, which Poland is supposed to be doing, and Ukraine has already acknowledged that they will do. And we're not even going to get into Hungary because those fuckers ought to be kicked out of the EU. But we need to understand that Poland is fighting for its own way of actually working within the European Union the way that it's intended to run. And queer people have safe space in the European Union. That's according to law. So there is a lot of issues that Poland needs to still address. I hope for the best, but I'm preparing for more of the same. So just wanted to put that out there. Good luck to Donald Tusk. Hope everything works out well for you. I'll be right behind you supporting you. Billy Porter puts Ron DeSantis on blast with powerful message of defiance. We will always say gay. So my sister from another mister is out there stirring the pot and getting into good trouble. And you can check out the entire article on Pink News. Girl, she is flinging the shade like there's no tomorrow, and as only Billy Porter can. So I'm here for it. I stand for Billy Porter and whatever he does because you know he gets shit done, and I love him to death. He's just amazing. Okay, so here's one that Vance has talked up quite a bit from time to time. My governor here in the lovely state of California just signed 4 pieces of legislation aimed at strengthening protections and providing better support for LGBTQ plus youth in the Golden State. The measures include AB 5, which sets out implementation timelines for LGBTQ cultural competency training by public school teachers and staff, the establishment of an advisory task force to identify LGBTQ plus pupils needed needs across the state, and AB 223, which requires any petition for a minor to change their sex markers to be kept confidential by the court. So, as well as this, SB 407 directs the Department of Social Services to amend the foster care vetting process to ensure that LGBTQ plus youth in the foster system are not placed in anti-LGBTQ plus foster homes. This law will offer better protections for extremely vulnerable LGBTQ plus youth in the state. So, California is an expensive state to live in. I'm not going to lie. We have a homeless problem that is really skyrocketing. But I will say this, our legislature and our governor are very, very focused on LGBTQ issues. So there's a reason why so many people still live here. There has been an exodus, but I'm liking to think that a lot of it are right wingers who are just fed up with trying to fight here in a very blue state. And I'm just thinking they're leaving so they can go back to their mud flaps out in the wilds of Alabama and leave the liberalism to the rest of us who know what the hell we're doing. So good on my governor. I love Gavin Newsom. I'm a huge fan. I love that guy. All right, here is my love for the Midwest. This is for Vance. Even though it doesn't take place in Wisconsin, it's his next door neighbor. So, when you're considering gay travel destinations, don't overlook the Midwest. Saugatuck, Michigan, for instance, boasts a vibrant and inclusive atmosphere that radiates with pride all year round. This is a place where any gay shenanigans can go from 0 to 100 because there are options for every personality except the stuck up. So, why not board a plane to Saugatuck and experience this unique blend of charm and gayness firsthand? So this is via QWERTY. We'll definitely have the links to it. It actually started way back in 1910. It was opened as an artist colony, and it
Mm-hmm.
breaks the most harmful stereotypes associated with small towns while offering all the perks. As a tourist destination, the town's allure is centered around the immaculate oval beach. It wasn't until the 1950s when its demographic became known for queerness, including housing West Michigan's first gay bar, the Blue Tempo. Its artistic roots never stop holding a grip on the area's culture, and today a lively art scene remains with a plethora of galleries. Saugatuck is also popular for its parks and impressive farm-to-table food scene. You won't find exclusionary pretense of gay resort town like Fire Island or Palm Springs. However, most gay destinations share cultural similarities. They promise safety for our community. So I just wanted to share a little love for the Midwest. It's lovely when we get to celebrate those big wins and that those communities are thriving. And it is kind of the Fire Island and Provincetown of the Midwest. I think it has that kind of feel to it, much like Sedona, Arizona does. There are places around the country that aren't as celebrated as they should be. And I think it's lovely when somebody devotes an article talking about a community that has existed as a safe space for queer people. And I think we need to celebrate those far more than we do. So, little love to the Midwest. All right. That's what I have because you did the Adam Bolt. So, I have my win of the week. Do you want me to go first or do you want to go first?
Let me go because I just have one thing to add to the John Waters
Okay.
article. So I got my information from NPR, and I'll have all my links available. But this star under the Walk of Fame coincided with the opening of the retrospective of his career at the Academy Museum of Motion Pictures. So it was actually a double win for John Waters and our community.
Yeah. Excellent. Yeah. You know what? People don't realize, most of mainstream doesn't realize how much John Waters has contributed to
Hmm.
mainstream media
Hmm.
and how much of an effect he has had as a queer content creator. Um, So this was long overdue, long overdue. I mean, this man has been creating since the early 70s
Yep.
and has made some of the most iconic queer films ever produced. So if you are unaware of him and what rock have you been under, and I'm looking at the children, definitely look up this man's works because you just will appreciate how far he went at a time when none of us were really had the cojones to do it.
Mm-hmm.
He did.
Mm-hmm.
All right, excellent. So my win of the week is a little bit of a, I don't want to say mea culpa. I've always maintained any actor can play any role, okay, because I come from that world. However, what I've also said is when it is a queer person playing a queer role, I like it even more because I love when we tell our own stories. I'm not against other actors, straight identifying or whatever, playing a queer role, but I prefer it if I can get it. So that's my stance. Having said that, my win of the week is Gael Garcia Bernal and also Alexander Skarsgård because they are two, and Bad Bunny for that sake. They are definitely letting people know and using their fame and their platform to talk about the area of masculinity and its representation in the world, and how even as straight identifying men, and the reason why I'm putting it in air quotes is because they're now pushing back on the label of straight. And it's not that they're wanting to come out of the closet and say I'm bi or I'm pan or whatever. What they're trying to say is don't box us in. We became actors because we want to challenge our experience. We want to grow further. And I think Gael actually said it the best. And let me pull up his quote. Uh, all of a sudden, it was like there were so many taboos that were broken. This is after he was talking about the role he's currently playing, Cassandra, which is a gay wrestler in the lucha libre form of wrestling in Mexico. And he says, all of a sudden, it was like there were so many taboos that were broken. And when they were all broken, everyone was like, yeah, it wasn't such a big deal. Straight is a term that I didn't invent. I like women. But at the same time, being an actor allowed me to explore that transgender quality that we all have in a way. It allowed me the freedom to do that. And if I wasn't an actor, I would have acted anyway as a sport, as a hobby, in order to explore that. Straight is a definition that I fortunately never allowed society or my family or whatever to impose upon me. This is what I am. If forced to do that, then I would not sign it. I would not sign the paper. So he's really kind of laying it out there saying, one of the things that actors do is, and they talk about it as a journey, and they're often made fun of it because they say it's a journey. But you have to realize sometimes when you put your feet in somebody else's shoes, it opens up your own perspective. Harry Hamlin went through the same thing when he did Making Love, and he says it in Celluloid Closet. He said, I was fighting my own inner homophobia, and he says, and I keep thinking, why am I doing this? Why? And so they begin to understand the broad nature of what it is to be a man. And I know I'm focusing on men, and it's because I think the issue with male sexuality is far more important than what's going on with females. And I'm not disparaging them or trying to lessen their challenges and their struggles. What I'm saying is, I think because we live in a patriarchy, the focus has to be here to kind of undo this knot of mess that we have evolved to be representation of masculinity. And I think actors like this who are willing to do the work, who are willing to talk about doing the work and willing to explore all of these areas, they begin to see the label is not the thing. And that's what I love about it. So Gael Garcia Bernal, Bad Bunny, who was one of his co-stars in the movie Cassandra, and I think we should review that, and Alexander Skarsgård going to a gay club and kissing all the boys is my win of the week. I like when these men are exploring themselves both on screen and off, trying to see where their lives want to take them, and they're not so quick to just put the cis straight label on them.
So is this a reversal of when you came at me for the Pedro Almodovar news story?
In a way, that's why I
All
say
right, I'll take
it's
it.
sort of a mea culpa, sort of. I still say I prefer when queer people do
I
our own.
understand.
So,
I do too.
you know, I could not see Pose being done by a bunch of straight males playing those roles. That would not work. I would
No.
not fly with that at all. So my whole thing is I love the fact that and here's the counter to that. There is a movie called Soldier Boy where Lee Pace and it's a true story. Lee Pace plays a transgender woman, and I don't have a problem with him playing it because he's a gay man moving into this space. He understands the community he comes from. So in those cases, again, queer person playing a queer role. I would have preferred, and at the time it was not possible because of the time of when that movie was made. Trans people did not have a lot of offers on hand or opportunities to be in films. Now they're telling their own stories.
Hmm.
And I love that. I will always choose authenticity over someone who is acting in a role that is trying to project that sort of level of authenticity. I'm not saying that I don't enjoy performances by self-identifying or not straight actors, but I do like the fact that they are willing to step into those positions. But my caution is don't say you're brave for doing it.
Right.
There's
No,
nothing
no.
brave about it. And a lot of them have, and they allow the lauding of them. Oh, he won an Academy Award because he was so brave. Bitch, no, I'm with Billy Porter on this one. So yeah, so yes, in a way, but no.
In a bit of business news, in this last week, the current owner of Twitter X had commented to somebody else offhandedly that the best way to make Twitter better would be to charge every account.
Yeah,
And while the dollar amount for the individual user was minimal, like dollar or two a month was what he was projecting, the dollar amount for organizations like, oh, I don't know, say a podcast
yeah,
was excessive. It was exorbitant. It was more than we pay in hosting fees for a year. So I just want the world to know that if you follow us there and the charge rate comes through, we will not be using that platform anymore.
yeah. Find
Just
us on
just
Threads.
we'll we have an account there. I guess I'd better make one before this
I
airs.
thought I thought you had already made it because we had talked about it.
I know I applied for Blue Sky. Anyway, I'll make sure that
Hey, don't
exists.
follow us on Threads. We're not there yet.
No, no, no. I'll make sure that exists before this hits the airwaves. All right, Written on the Edges, produced by Rogue Ravens Media. For our disclaimers, links to social media, our listen stations, or to sign up as a guest, visit www.rotepodcast.com. If you enjoy learning about new artists or hearing our thoughts on entertainment media and or the world, please like and subscribe so you get the alerts for new episodes. Follow us on YouTube. Members of my family have just started to do so. Tune
Oh,
in
oh,
next week.
oh, 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 oh. Hold on tune in next week. You can do that right after this. Looks like we have a writer's deal with the studio. It broke last night. It still has to be ratified by the union, but I just wanted to say bravo if they pulled it off. I am so with the writers on this. It does open the door now for the actors to get their union issues sorted. So big, 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 big thank you to all of the people who have worked diligently and hard to get writers their due. You would not have a single fucking piece of entertainment without us. Writers matter. So
And now
just
I have
wanted to
to mark.
include that. Yeah.
Now I have to mark this episode explicit. Thanks. You were doing
Ah,
so
fuck.
well.
Ah, fuck.
All
Fuck,
right,
fuck,
folks.
fuckity, fuck, fuck.
Oh my god. Tune in next week for your queer media fix.
I know.
Oh, what's that?
Closing time. The bums rush in melody, dear.